This video, I want to talk to you about how to go from anxious to securely attached after heartbreak. The first thing to go from anxious to secure is to become aware of the patterns of thinking, behaving, and feeling. And then also becoming aware of the triggers. What triggers these patterns, this way of thinking, this way of behaving, and this way of feeling? When I became aware of the anxious patterns that I had and what triggers them, it became less challenging for me to give the right response, which means that I was more capable of responding from a place of calm, confidence, clarity, rather than reacting from a place of fear and anxiety. So now, for example, the minute someone says something or does something and I feel triggered, I immediately know what to do. The first thing I do is that I immediately bring myself back to my body. Then I bring my attention to this moment. I take a few deep breaths. Therefore, I'm able to respond with the right words, with the right actions that come from a place of, just like I said before, clarity, confidence, assertiveness, self-compassion, and self-respect, rather than from a place of being worried about what someone is going to think of me, being afraid, or being anxious about other people's reactions. By the way, if you're going through heartbreak right now, it doesn't matter whether your relationship ended a week ago, a month ago, or 3 months ago. I want you to know that you can start healing today. I have a process that helped me out of the same pain that you're going through right now. I'm passionate about sharing this with as many women as possible. So if you'd like me to guide you through this process, book a free call by clicking the link in the description below. I think that's really important to move from anxious to secure is to learn how to differentiate between who you are and your patterns. When I did this, it was really important for me to realize that I am not my patterns and I am not my anxious attachment style. This means that the anxious attachment patterns are nothing but a set of thoughts, feelings, and actions that I have been practicing, that I unconsciously and unintentionally practicing for years, because they used to serve a certain outcome, a certain result, a certain feeling that I wanted to feel as a child. But they are not who I am. I had to realize that I am much bigger than that. I am the awareness, the consciousness, the beautiful spirit, the eternal beautiful soul that is temporarily occupying this body. This higher consciousness is who becomes aware when one of these patterns is triggered, and therefore chooses to respond from a wiser space, from a more compassionate space. Mind that this distinction is very important, because a pattern is like habit. It's something that we have been repeating for a long time until we started to confuse it with who you are. But the distinction is important, and the reason is because habit is something that you have practiced long enough, but it is something that you can change. Whereas on the other hand, your sense of identity, who you believe yourself to be, that is something more difficult to change. And that's why this distinction is really important. Number 3 is to stop looking for safety outside of ourselves. And we have to learn how to start creating it inside of our bodies. And that was something that I worked on through meditation. I learned the power of a regulated nervous system, how important it is to bring us a feeling of safety, a feeling of peace. And this is the feeling that so many of us spend a lifetime looking for outside of ourselves. Sat down with my body enough times, calming it down, breathing, teaching it how to be present in this moment until it became who I am. Of course, this doesn't mean that I don't react, because I do. Sometimes I do. But this reaction does not become an emotional state that I live from on a daily basis. It is like a momentarily thing. When I learned how to create this sense of safety, this feeling of peace inside of myself, my thirst for experiencing this feeling, it was satisfied, and therefore made me realize that actually in the past I used to not chase people, but I was chasing a feeling that I thought this person was going to give me. So now I know that when I embody this safety, when I embody this confidence, when I am authentic and compassionately embracing my insecurities and imperfections, I allow and attract into my life people who are on the same emotional, mental, and spiritual maturity. So these were 3 of the most important things that helped me to go from anxiously attached to securely attached. If you take these things and you put them into action, I know that you're going to notice the difference in how you feel and how you show up to yourself and in your life as well. Take care of yourself, and I'll catch you up in our next video.